Some monsters are born from the darkest corners of the earth, crawling from shadow and nightmare. But others are made. They are forged in fear, hammered into shape by cruelty, and given life by the hands of men who have forgotten what it means to be human. The dim light of the candle flame danced across the weathered parchment, illuminating ancient, spidery script. My fingers traced the faded runes, a language I felt more than I understood. The air in the hut was thick with the scent of dried herbs, and something older, something like dust and secrets. Across from me, Elder Kill watched with eyes that had seen too many winters. His face was a roadmap of wrinkles, each line a story of hardship and survival. "You seek answers about the beast, Elias," he rasped, his voice like stones grinding together. "But the answers you find might break you." He leaned forward, his gnarled finger pointing to a specific symbol on the parchment, a coiled serpent eating its own tail, but with thorns protruding from its spine. "The creature that took Nero, it is not some lone predator. It is a soldier, an instrument of the Shadow Brotherhood." "The Brotherhood?" I repeated, the name tasting like ash in my mouth. "They are not mere worshippers of darkness," Kill continued, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "They are its architects. They believe true power is not found, but taken, stolen. They twist the natural order, shaping flesh and bone into weapons. The beast you hunt is their creation, and the amulet you carry—" He paused, his gaze fixed on the cool metal resting against my chest. "It is a key they desperately want back." He warned me to turn back, to leave the forest to its ghosts and the Brotherhood to its profane work. But Nero's face, twisted in terror in my last memory of him, wouldn't let me. I couldn't leave him to that fate. I had to know. I had to understand. Leaving the relative safety of Kill's hut felt like stepping off a cliff. The forest seemed to have grown more menacing since my last venture. The fog was a living entity, a cold, wet blanket that smothered sound and sight. It swirled around the skeletal trees, their branches like twisted, grasping fingers reaching for me. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves sent a jolt of adrenaline through my veins. The wide, desolate clearings felt like stages, and I was the unwilling actor, waiting for the monster to make its entrance. The mist swallowed the landscape, and with it, my sense of direction and hope. I was walking deeper into a nightmare, guided only by the faint, cold pull of the amulet. Hours bled into one another. The sun was a pale, forgotten memory above the canopy of fog and leaves. Then, through the gloom, a structure took shape. An old, abandoned watermill, its wheel frozen and choked with vines, stood like a tombstone against the gray sky. A sense of profound wrongness radiated from it, a silent scream that vibrated in the air. This was the place. I knew it in my bones. Pushing open the heavy, groaning door, I was met with the stench of decay and something metallic and sharp, like old blood. The main chamber was a scene of industrial horror. A massive stone table, stained with dark, sprawling patterns, dominated the center of the room. Scattered across it and the floor were crude, menacing tools, not for milling grain, but for shaping flesh. Saws, scalpels, and strangely shaped clamps lay glinting in the faint light filtering through grimy windows. And there, scratched into the wooden floorboards with a horrifying precision, was the same symbol from Kill's parchment, the thorny, self-devouring serpent. The air grew colder, and a low hum, a vibration of immense power, seemed to emanate from the very foundations of the building. This was a workshop, a laboratory, a place where monsters were made. My heart hammered against my ribs as I searched the mill. A set of steep stone steps led down into a cellar, a gaping black maw in the floor. Taking a deep breath, I descended into the darkness, my hand clutching the hilt of my knife. The air below was frigid, carrying the smell of damp earth and raw fear. And that's when I saw him. Chained to the far wall was a young man, no older than myself. He was emaciated, his body a canvas of scars, both old and terrifyingly new. But these weren't ordinary scars. As I watched, they seemed to move, to writhe just beneath his skin like a nest of worms. He was mumbling, his words lost in a guttural growl that was not entirely human. His fingernails were long, blackened, and unnaturally sharp, already more like claws. As his head lolled to the side, I saw his teeth. They were shifting, elongating, becoming fangs. A gasp escaped my lips, a sound of pure horror and dawning comprehension. They've turned you into one of them. As I spoke, the amulet around my neck pulsed with an icy coldness I had never felt before. It wasn't just a faint pull. It was a thrumming, a deep, resonant beat that vibrated through my entire body. It began to glow, a soft, ethereal blue light that illuminated the cellar. Across the room, the scars on the captive's body mirrored the glow, pulsing in perfect, horrifying synchrony with my amulet. A terrible connection, an undeniable link snapped into place in my mind. The curse, the beast. It wasn't a plague or a generational affliction. The beasts are created, I whispered, the words catching in my throat. Not cursed. They were manufactured, engineered, and the amulet. It wasn't just a key. It was a component, a piece of the profane puzzle. The realization hit me like a physical blow, stealing the air from my lungs. The way the amulet felt against my skin, the pull it had on me, the way it seemed to react, not just to the beast, but for me. It wasn't just a tool to fight them. It was a part of them, a part of me. My own skin began to crawl. A cold dread, sharper and more personal than any fear I had ever known, washed over me. I looked down at my own hands, half expecting to see them change. The pieces clicked together, forming a picture of absolute terror. My family's history, the curse they spoke of in hushed tones, Nero's capture. It was all connected to this place, to the Brotherhood. They didn't just make these creatures. They chose people. They chose families. They chose me. My eyes widened in shock, my reflection staring back from the polished surface of the glowing amulet. They made me one of them.